Hi everyone. So we are continuing with our lecture series on cluster analysis, and we were on to the k-means cluster analysis in particular. And in that, we were just left with the last two output tables, which are indeed very interesting to be, discussed about in cluster analysis. So this one being the final cluster centers. So see, now using the last set of cluster centers or these final cluster centers, where obviously we have arrived using this optimizing procedure where the cluster centers were recomputed till the point we had attained a convergence and we were finally at some final cluster memberships assigned. Okay, so these final cluster centers in particular are the ones prescribed to the customers or respondents. And these cluster centers will allow you to describe your cluster. So let's interpret them. So this is cluster 1, 2, 3, and 4. That is the 4 cluster solution we were indeed looking for. These are your clustering variables. That is the variables which have allowed you to make clusters. So we had taken intentionally some 5 variables. So these, see, the knowledge of variables should come from your research question. So your research underlying theory should guide you along that. So I had taken product quality, technical support, Salesforce image, new products, delivery speed, all were on a Likert scale, and people were just asked to rate the product on a scale of 0 to 10 on all of these attributes. So they indeed rated, and we have arrived at the final cluster centers. So in cluster 1, I can say that the product quality on an average is rated 8.1. In cluster 2, product quality on an average is rated 7.7. In cluster 3, it is rated on an average 9. And in 4, it's 6.2. So while you're describing one cluster, you have to do so in a relative comparison to other clusters. So look at cluster 1's product quality score. That is 8.1. Now compare this 8.1 across the row. You see that 8.1 is just below 9, which is the highest average rating. That means this cluster is very much satisfied with product quality, only below the first highest scorer, that is from cluster 3. So the cluster 1, as we can see, is more or less very much satisfied, okay, as the rating is second highest on product quality. Talking about technical support, so in technical support, we see that this cluster 1 has rated at the third number. So that means it's actually not too good from the perspective of cluster 1. So we see that the topmost rating has been 6.6, then 6.1, and then is 4.4. Also, since we consider the rating from 0 to 10, so 5 becomes the average score. So 4.4 can also be thought of as something below average. Okay. So technical support for this cluster is somewhere below average. And then talking about Salesforce image, we see it's the lowest. So however this cluster has appreciated the product quality, it has decently, or I should say, moderately like the technical support. It's not satisfied with the Salesforce image at all. Secondly, about the new products, again, the lowest number. So it's not satisfied with the new products range also. So then we look at the delivery speed, for example. So it's 3.7, which when compared to other numbers, it doesn't show a much variation. You see, in delivery speed as a clustering variable, you don't see much variation. It's a 3.7, 3.9, 3.94. More or less everything is so similar to make a considerable remark. Okay. So I think all these numbers on delivery speed are below 5. So I can say that delivery speed for all the clusters has behaved below average. I mean, almost every cluster has felt that delivery speed is indeed not up to the mark. Okay. So talking about this cluster 1 in particular, however, this cluster 1 can be a good target market in terms of introducing high quality product. However, but new products again will put a hindrance in actually attracting this cluster 1, since on the new product it has the lowest rating. So we really need to rework on cluster 1. Okay, so this section of the market is a really disturbing one, and the firm must focus to attract this cluster. Now we come on to the cluster 2, similar row-wise comparisons, and you would see that cluster 2 with product quality is satisfied. It's good. 7.7 is a good number when compared to 8.19 and 6.2. Then technical support is the lowest. 3.6 is below all of these. Salesforce image is second most rated. So 5.3 is just below 5.6. Then in new products, it's the highest. Okay. Then delivery speed, I think we should better not bother about delivery speed at all, because it's more or less just the same for all the clusters. So we see that this cluster 2, since it has rated the highest on new products and decently, I should say appreciably on product quality as well. The only areas where it is lacking is technical support and then delivery speed, which we are choosing to ignore as of now. So we can say that this cluster 2 is a good market for introducing new products which are of good quality. Okay, so that is when we can really attract this cluster. At the same time, we need to ensure that this cluster's customers come back to the firm for repeat sales. Then we will have to work upon technical support. Okay, so that's how you see that the ideology behind us interpreting these clusters is throughout to try to describe how that cluster looks like. Depending upon these attribute ratings, I'm trying to characterize my cluster, and hence I'll be able to comment that how can a firm make the most out of a market. So that's how you segment your markets. You try to reach out to the to the particular market base depending upon their needs and preferences. That's what we're doing for that firm. Now let's come on to the cluster 3. Oh, that looks like a very good cluster. So cluster 3 has product quality 9, topmost. Technical support, topmost, 6.6. Sales for image, average. I should say more or less, it's only one cluster which is above average. Two clusters, sorry. Then the third is below average. So I think sales for image, average is okay then, good enough. New products, second rated, and delivery speed I'm choosing to ignore for now. Okay, so we see that cluster 3 has come up as the most most satisfied cluster maybe. So that is why we should rather focus on making this cluster as the most lucrative market for that firm. Can we see how many people are there in cluster 3, since it's an important market, right? I come over here and see that cluster 3 has 30 people. That means these 30 sizable people really make up a good market for me. As a firm manager, I would be rather happy to have this cluster base to expand. So that means I'm really happy with the result. Okay. Looking at cluster 4. In cluster 4, we see that product quality is 6.2. That's the lowest. Then technical support is 6.1, second highest. It's happy with the technical support. Salesforce image is the highest. It's happy with the Salesforce image as well. New products is at third number. So I should say not too satisfied with the new product range. So I can see that this cluster holds potential to be converted into yet another lucrative market, because we're almost there. It's like 5 can almost be worked upon. Then 5.6 can also be is a good number, which is actually the highest. Then 6.1 can almost be worked upon to reach the 6.6 level maybe. So we see that this cluster holds great potential to be able to convert it into a lucrative market for us. Okay, so that's how we were able to interpret our clusters and make a comment on how to really go about making the policies to target our specific market base. Next, let's look at this ANOVA table. What exactly does it tell you? See, ANOVA table, as usual, is coming with the null hypothesis that the mean across the groups are equal. Now, try to understand what are your groups here. Your groups are the clusters. And what are the variables which are allowing you to make the cluster? The clustering variables. That is X6, 8, 12, 15, and 18. So indeed, what I'm going to do here is test the null hypothesis that the mean for product quality, okay, the mean score on product quality for each of the clusters is equal. It's like I'm going to test it for this table. So I'm saying that the mean for product quality, that is 8.1, 7.7, 9, 6.2, respectively for cluster 1, 2, 3, and 4, is equal. If it is coming out to be statistically significant, that means I'm able to reject this null hypothesis of equal means, then I can say that the means are indeed different and product quality as a clustering variable has done a good job. Okay, so I see for product quality, my p-value is 0. You compare it with alpha of 1%, 5%, whatever alpha you choose. You see that you're able to reject the null hypothesis of equal mean scores for product quality across the clusters. So I can say that product quality means indeed differ significantly, and this as a clustering variable does a fairly good job. Now we can likewise test for all the variables. We see that technical support p-value again less than alpha, it's significant. Salesforce image 0.014, you compare it with 0.05, that is 5% alpha. So you will be able to reject the null here as well. Talk about new products, again statistically significant, but delivery speed has 0.680. Now that's way above your p-value. Oh, sorry, alpha. Say alpha 5%, 1%, even 10%. No, 5%. So it's a 6.8, I think. Okay. So I think that that's not a good number. Okay. So we see that delivery speed is not doing a good job as a clustering variable. Now, can you draw a parallel between this ANOVA result and the result we saw over here? You saw that delivery speed means were indeed not showing a marked difference. 3.7 is not markedly different from 3.9 and 4. You see that? So delivery speed is indeed having two confirmatory results that it's not a good clustering variable. Now, however, you were able to interpret this ANOVA table in the fashion I just told you. But see, we must take these results with a pinch of salt. Now, why so? Because, see, cluster analysis, especially the k-means cluster, is actually building upon the premise to maximize heterogeneity between the clusters. That means the variables are chosen in a fashion, or maybe the variables are employed in the cluster analysis in the fashion that they're aiming to actually diverge one cluster from another as much as possible. We want to maximize the heterogeneity between cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 3, and cluster 4. Now, this particular bias, okay, this particular pursuit of maximizing heterogeneity between the clusters can incorporate as a strong bias. Now, this strong bias can make you readily reject the null hypothesis of no difference. Okay, so that means we must take these results with a pinch of salt. So as they've written it over here also, the F-test should be used only for descriptive purposes because the clusters have been chosen to maximize the differences among cases in different clusters. The observed significance levels are not corrected for this. So that very bias which I was talking about, and thus cannot be interpreted as the tests of the hypothesis that cluster means are equal. Okay. So that was about your ANOVA table. Lastly, you can see your number of cases in each cluster. And I think I drew a parallel between this table and this table, and earlier also in my earlier video lecture. So we have in cluster 1, 27 people. So that's my second sizable cluster. Third is my most sizable cluster 3. Then I have fourth cluster is 26. Second cluster has 17. So that's what makes your cluster analysis results. Now, with this, we end our understanding from k-means cluster analysis. Thank you for watching the video.